Hello once again and good evening from Dartford. Well, tonight we'll find out who's going to play Steve Sanders in next week's final of the John Bull Bitter London Pool Championships. And there's tremendous expectation here at the Orchard because tonight's match is the clash between the holder and the favourite and the form player of the tournament so far. Well, Maltese Joe Barbara, last year's European champion, he's going for his third shoot pool title. His record confirms he's one of the best players in the world. Mick Casey, 20-year-old Irishman from Harlesden, in contrast, he's still searching for his first major title. But Mick's made massive strides this year. In the quarter-final, he brushed aside the top man in England, Dave Dolman. Now, in the commentary box, we've got Reading professional Steve Clark. He ended Mick's interest in the tournament last year, still trying to work out how he did that. And Chris Carter. We're going to go straight into the match, 11 frames of distance, and it's Mick, you're to break.
An intriguing contest ahead of us. Mick Casey very much on form, a very talented, confident young man against Maltese Joe Barbara. What can you say about
Open
Joe
table.
Barbara?
Well, Joe will have to use all his experience if he wants to slow down Mick Casey, because what we saw of him 3 weeks ago was absolutely incredible when he beat Dave Dolman. But if anybody can do it, Joe can. And of course, Joe, quite capable of playing open himself, may prove it here because all the yellows are potable.
Yellow ball's nominated.
Maybe going for game straight away here. Maltese Joe just making up his mind. He's slightly out of position here. Has the choice of the yellow into the top left. That one will be pretty tight though. The red on the side cushion is close to that pocket. Great shot from Joe. Has left himself the possibility of a plant here, playing the yellow nearest the cue ball onto the yellow over the bottom left-hand corner pocket. This not as easy as it may look. If he plays the one over the bottom left, he must screw out enough to be able to pot the final yellow into the bottom right, or if he goes the other way around, he must be careful not to snook himself. Just looking to see if he plays the yellow into the bottom right, where he needs to leave the cue ball. And it will have to be somewhere in the centre of the table. And that looks great shot. Looks just about perfect. Got a choice of the black into the right-hand centre pocket or screwing back up for the black into the bottom right. And that's really just where he didn't want to be. I fancy he'll be taking the cut into the bottom right here.
And Maltese Joe Barbara puts that black one down, and that is a formidable start for the reigning champion. He leads 1-0.
Second frame, Joe Barbara to break.
Joe Barbara then at the table, and again
Yellow ball
a
nominated.
ball goes down, a yellow one. I think he would have preferred a red one to have gone. They are somewhat better spaced around the table.
Having said that, Chris, the yellows are also nicely placed. I can see a clearance on it here as well.
And Maltese Joe is experienced enough a professional to know that a 2-frame-to-0 lead so quickly in this semi-final would perhaps demoralise young Michael Casey. We shall have to wait and see.
A choice of either yellow into either bottom pocket here. The important thing is whichever one he takes second, he must have an angle on it to get up towards the final 2 yellows. Well, he's overdone that one. He wanted the yellow into the bottom right next. He snookered on that particular yellow. He snookered on the one towards the centre of the table. So he may have messed up his chances for the clearance. Well, maybe a touching ball. It was a very good shot from Joe. This, Mick Casey's only second shot at the table. Just broke in the first frame, of course.
And looking at those yellows and the black, that may well be his only touch in this second frame.
You may well be right, Chris. The yellow into the centre pocket, followed by the next yellow into the bottom left, which is what Joe's just looking at now. He'll be running through for the final yellow into the bottom right. May elect to play the black into the centre pocket on the left-hand side of the table.
And the incredible thing is that Mick Casey, the man who's playing so well, has not yet potted a ball with 2 frames about to be completed here by Maltese Joe Barbara. There it goes, Maltese Joe Barbara leads, and poor old Mick Casey hasn't potted a ball yet.
Third frame, Mick Casey to break.
Mick Casey then, with an awful lot of worries on his shoulders. He was brimming with confidence, and that confidence might well have evaporated. Nothing goes down
Open
for him.
table.
So 3 visits to the table, and Mick Casey has yet to pot a ball. And this man, Maltese Joe Barbara, is ahead 2 frames to 0. Yellows or reds, Steve, what would you go for?
Well, either balls are spread very nicely.
I know they are. I just want you to pick one,
I
please.
think I would probably plump for the yellows.
Open table.
Well, after a start like this, Mick Casey is nothing but realistic about his chances against such a seasoned campaigner.
Well, he's got the upper hand. He's won a lot more competitions than I have. But I've got one good victory over him. That was the first ever pro competition in Birkenhead. And I beat him 4-0, but I was playing the same way as I was playing against Dave. I just didn't miss anything. So just hope he thinks about that.
Well, we should just have to wait and see whether Mick Casey does, and certainly putting that red one
Red
down
ball's
will be
nominated.
a good start.
In fact, not another ball drop for over 6 minutes until Mick lined up the elusive third red for the second time.
Playing one onto the other now. To the top right, top left, should I say.
And the movement of that yellow ball has not helped Mick Casey's cause at all.
The two reds over the pocket, no problem. The red towards the bottom end of the table is a problem. It will only pot into the bottom right or the centre left. And of course the black is not very well situated. Played for the awkward red this time. As good as he could have expected, I suppose, there. Not a bad shot. Played with left-hand side on the cue ball. Must make sure the cue ball ends up roughly where the D is. Well, that's a very, very good shot. We're looking to play this one slowly into the centre pocket and the black into the opposite centre pocket.
And in goes the black, and Mick Casey has pulled it back, and there, the second from the right, his father, a little bit relieved about that, I should think.
Well, what a great relief to the Casey family. They must have heaved another sigh of relief when Joe snookered himself on the final red in the next frame.
Oh, he's played that one nicely. Oh, he's unfortunate. He's overdone it and he's snookered. He's looking to come off 3 cushions here to maybe pop the red into the centre pocket. Good attempt.
2 visits. Free table.
And has that mistake allowed this young man, Mick Casey, to level up the second semi-final?
All the yellows are nicely placed. Just the one awkward one on the left-hand side cushion, but that shouldn't cause too many problems for Mick. Well, that was a tough yellow, but Mick made it look very easy. He's a fine potter of a ball.
Well, any sign of nerves that Mick Casey had early on appear to have evaporated. And this is the sort of form, having said that, he's got out of position.
Yes, Chris, he played for the one to the centre pocket, but still 2 shots.
Second visit.
Could play the one into the bottom left first, leaving himself where the cue ball is now and the black into the bottom right. Or he could go the other way round. Either way, I feel sure the black's going into the bottom right.
And Mick Casey needs the black to level it up. And the black goes down, and Mick Casey has done it. He's pulled level. Was trailing 2 frames to 0, but it's now 2 frames apiece.
Yes, what a wonderful finish by the young Irishman. But Barbara took similar advantage of a foul to win the next frame, and we pick it up in the 6th, with Casey doing his best to avoid potting his 5th red.
Fine shot there from Mick Casey. Having to use the rest as well. Made it even harder, but he may have to play the same shot again. Mick Casey really does not want to pop the one over the bottom left, because if he does, it will take away all advantage he has in this frame. Well, Maltese Joe succeeded. He's forced him to pot it. Mick's left himself in such a position he has the chance to double this red. And that's a good one as well. This one's got to be equally as good.
Absolutely. Looking for position on the black to see how it lies in that cluster of yellows. Can a screw back from this shot?
Brilliant shot from Mick Casey. Does the black pass the yellow into the centre pocket? If not, he'll be going for the double.
And down it goes, and Mick Casey has done it again. He's levelled it up. It's now 3 frames apiece. And Joe Barbara now has got a lot to think about.
With Crown Plus 2, you can do anything you like. If you like it, crown it.
With a roast chicken, the cuts you choose first are the best cuts, the breast and thigh. At McDonald's, you can't choose anything else, because our Chicken McNuggets are all made only from the best cuts. Just whole pieces of breast and thigh. The only choice you have to make is which of the delicious sauces to have.
The BP Treasure Trove. Collect your game charting card at a BP station and win £25,000, a Montego or a Caribbean holiday. Ha ha!
At Eden Vale, milk begins arriving at dawn to become Eden Vale cream, cottage cheese, yogurt, irresistible desserts. Farmers send us the cream of their crop, fresh fruits and vegetables, to add extra bite to our cottage cheeses. We cram our crunchy cottage cheese with crisp celery, tasty peanuts, and tender young carrots. Nothing tastes better than Eden Vale crunchy cottage cheese, because we cram in the cream of the country.
Bermuda, Barnsley, butter, same thing really.
But I love him. He's just like butter. Nothing artificial about him. But he doesn't taste as good.
I know it's real ale, but is in the plough person's lunch, is it
Butter.
Welcome back to butter.
And welcome back to a tremendous semi-final in the John Bull Bitter London Pool Championship. It's the best of 11 frames, and we left the holder and favourite, Maltese Joe Barbara, all square, with a 20-year-old Irishman from Harlesden, Mick Casey. Barbara won frame 7. That's where we pick it up, with Barbara to break in the 8th.
And a gentle break.
Open table.
I'm not sure the two balls actually hit the back cushion there.
Please nominate.
One of each has gone down. So Mick Casey must nominate his choice. I feel sure Mick will be choosing the reds here. The reds are blocking the bottom left-hand corner pocket.
Red ball's nominated.
Going for the long pot into the bottom right. It's a very nice shot. This has got to be accurate. Cannon the cue ball onto the yellow to hold position for the next red into the bottom right. Things are looking good here.
Or can Mick Casey come bouncing back after losing that last frame?
Has chosen to go a different way, but when screwing back off the red, he caught the other red and has knocked it onto the bottom cushion. Still no major problem, but it's a little bit harder than it should have been. Played with the right-hand side there to send the cue ball towards the bottom cushion. Well, unlucky there for Mick Casey. He had to play that one hard to get back out for the red into the centre pocket. May have been fortunate the cue ball may be very, very close to that red. Well, no, in fact, Joe can get past the red to pot the yellow. And an ideal opportunity here for Joe to clear up. Yellow into the bottom left next. Played for the yellow into the bottom right.
Has that got the pace? And the answer is no, it hasn't.
Well, in fact, looking at that yellow, you could see it wandered slightly. It was going in and the table just rolled off slightly.
And you could see Joe indicating with his arm there that the ball rolled away. Yes. Well, it makes you think of the old saying, how do you make a Maltese cross? You have a table that wanders a little bit.
The problem here for Mick is he's got to go up the table and back down with this one. Well, he couldn't have played that one any better. That is perfect. He'll be looking to screw across the table here. And that's another fine shot. A tough black now, but if he can get it, he'll draw level at 4 each.
And in goes the black, and young Mick Casey has done it, and his father in the centre of the picture there. Well pleased with his son's effort. It's now 4 frames apiece.
9th frame, Mick Casey to break.
Mick Casey fighting back splendidly. He has never yet been ahead in the competition so far.
2 yellows have gone down. Not too pleased with the situation there, Mick Casey. The yellow on the left-hand side cushion by the red is in a very dodgy position. There is a shot on there for Mick Casey. He could play the awkward yellow there and double it into the right-hand centre pocket. If this goes, all the others are easy.
What a good try, and although it didn't come off, those yellows are now all in the open, Steve.
Yes, but as you can see, Chris, so are the reds. So the question here is, whoever makes the first mistake may pay. Maltese Joe had the opportunity there, but he's looking for the two shots. Mick Casey coming off the one side cushion to make contact with the yellow nearest the cue ball. And he'll be pleased that he just touched that yellow. Will Joe take the game on from here? Joe is studying whether he should take on the pot into the top right to find cuts, or should he just roll up behind the red on the left-hand side cushion, or close to the left-hand side cushion. Either one's a risky one. And here he goes for the pots. It's a bad attempt, really. Missed it by quite a distance. Mick Casey's chance now. He's got an awkward first pot on though. He's got to take the yellow into the top left. Another fine shot. Got a choice here, the yellow into the bottom left, or the yellow into the top right. This could turn out to be a very crucial finish. If he gets this one, he puts Maltese Joe under some considerable amount of pressure. Problem, the yellow down the bottom end of the table will not pot into either bottom pocket, so he'll have to go into the centre pocket. That's the only problem for Mick Casey. Has a chance to come down the table here for the final yellow into one of the centre pockets. That's where he wants the cue ball there. He's just having a good look.
And using the red to put that yellow away, and nice positioning, although that's a bit close to the black.
Yes, he's left himself Chinese snookered again. Maltese Joe had one earlier. It's Mick Casey's turn. If he can just roll this one in, he's almost certain to be on the black. This is a crucial shot here. And in it goes.
And Mick Casey punches the air in triumph. He's pleased with that. And he's done it. He's gone ahead for the first time. Mick Casey now leads by 5 frames to 4.
Frame number 10, Joe Barbara to break.
And suddenly, Joe Barbara faces an uphill task. He's behind for the first time in this semi-final. And those reds
Open table.
are tempting, I'm sure, to Mick Casey as he comes to the table now.
Open table. Open table. Open table. Open table. Red ball nominated.
Not a lot of options here at the moment for Mick Casey.
Blocking the bottom right. The purpose of that being the red down the bottom end of the table in between the 2 yellows will pop nowhere. A chance for Mick to play that red out of trouble. Decided against it because in doing that particular shot he would also open up the yellows. Chance for Mick Casey now to play the red onto the bottom cushion, onto the yellow to block the pocket. It's a fine.
And this, of course, a frame that Maltese Joe Barbara must win. And I don't think we shall see him making any unnecessary risks.
The only problem for Mick Casey here is the black. It's covered by 2 or 3 yellows. Another magical pot there from Mick Casey. All the reds are nicely placed. He'll have plenty of opportunities to move that black. Well, he tried with that one. Mick Casey just looking to see if he was to play the one into the left-hand centre pocket, he could screw the cue ball into the black. Well, Maltese Joe blocking the centre pocket, but he's opened the black up. Mick's just looking to see if the black will in fact go into the centre pocket, in off the yellow. But he's got to pop the 4 reds first. Would like to play the red into the top right-hand corner pocket, but as you can see, the queuing is very difficult, having to queue over the black and one of the yellows. Maybe had a sneak between the 2 yellows for the red into the centre pocket. Well, he played with the right-hand side there and just caught the red too thin. In doing that shot, he's given Maltese Joe the opportunity now.
I don't think Joe will rush into the opportunity to finish, Steve. He can't afford another mistake. He must win this frame.
No, he certainly won't rush into it, Chris, but the finish is there. He's got 7 yellows on the table, but they're all nicely placed.
I think he would prefer a 2-shot situation to help him on his way to a clean-up.
But with the way the reds are spread all over the table, Chris, it will be very difficult for Joe to get a snooker.
Perhaps he'll just bide his time a little then, maybe.
Well, Joe went for the pot. He wanted to get that one. He needed to get that one. That could cost him the match. Again, Mick just looking at the black to see if it goes past the yellow into the centre pocket. Red into the top right, followed by the red into the centre pocket next. This a very crucial shot for Mick Casey, just asking for the cue ball to be clean. Wiping his hands. Must be careful not to snooker himself here.
And Mick Casey just 3 shots away from a place in the final.
Got to screw the cue ball across the table here.
It's positioning that's crucial now, and he's overrun.
Coming off the bottom cushion.
Well, at least he's got the black out into the open. Whether he gets a chance to shoot it again remains to be seen.
He'll just be touching this yellow for a tight snooker. Well, Mick could go across the table twice to make contact with the black, or use the bottom cushion first. Well, that's the way he's going.
Misses by 2 or 3
Foul.
inches.
2 visits, free table.
And I don't really think that Joe Barbara will need any more help to wrap up this frame and level it up.
Great pop from Joe, playing the cue ball into such a position. Leaves himself the choice of any of the yellows. The one into the centre pocket he prefers. Not such a very good shot from Joe that time. He needs the rest. Playing the yellow into the bottom right, coming off the bottom cushion with the cue ball and back round. That's a better one from Joe. The one into the bottom left next.
And Mick Casey, understandably, looks worried. Closes his eyes. Perhaps he can't bear to watch this. Casey sees the final yellow go down. Will Joe put this black away to level it up once again? And down goes the black. Mick Casey applauds, and it's 5 frames apiece, and we go into the 11th frame and the decider.
Imagine a car company where everyone starts on the factory floor. And where no one's ever been made redundant. Imagine if the managing director dressed just the same as the men on the line. Imagine if the management and the workers got together every day to see how they could make their cars even better. Maybe then it would be possible to make cars so good you could guarantee them for 3 years or 100,000 miles. Is all this really happening now in Britain? Or is it just a flight of fancy? It appears not.
Recently, a team from Romford was sent abroad to see how foreign beers compare with their favourite, John Bull Bitter. And our research's conclusion?
Well, if that's abroad, I reckon you'll soon have people coming to Romford for their holidays.
Maybe it's because I'm a Londoner. I love London.
World-famous John Bull Bitter from the Romford Brewery Company.
From Allied Lions, a great British company.
Want to see the Flymo Sprintmaster with grass collection? Want to see it again? Why slow-mo when you can fly-mo?
As you can see from this carefully controlled wind tunnel experiment, a conventional mint doesn't allow the refreshment through quickly enough. By the addition of a simple hole, however, the refreshment gets straight through. Polo, probably the most aerodynamic production mint in the world.
Back at the Orchard in Dartford, we're in the final frame of a terrific semi-final of the London Pool Championship. The holder, Maltese Joe Barbara, has been taken all the way by 20-year-old Mick Casey, who put out England #1, Dave Dolman, in the last round. And now he's showing all his ambition and skill as he goes for a really difficult 5th yellow.
Well, Mick Casey may be able to get between the two reds for the yellow to the left of the 3 balls towards the right-hand corner of the table, but he's playing a masse around the red for the yellow over the top left. Lovely.
Did it. Got the pot as well.
And here you see the raised cue butt there of Mike Casey, digging down at the cue ball to swerve around the red. And there you see the slight swerve going in the direction of the yellow. And it's a beautiful shot, and down goes the yellow.